Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Rainey Street podcast. This is the episode where we discuss rodeo days. So as a quick recap, the first part of the episode we talked about how the rodeo was the Hamlet County rodeo was in town, and Joseph and Bobby were trying out for the calf scramble and just other cowboy, sports. Competitions, yeah. No. And Bobby obviously didn't make the cut, so he is now secretly pursuing the life of a rodeo clown. He's at the point where he has maybe not calf scrambled, but he scrambled together a clown costume, and he's going to try his chops out on the rodeo clowns who are Zip Twilly and what was the other one's name?
Oh, geez, I can't remember.
Chet Howie.
Yeah.
Zip Twilly and Chet Howie.
Yeah, so I love that he shows up in these white, red striped boxers attached to suspenders. And as soon as he shows up, one of the rodeo clowns is like, "Hey, they haven't made those boxers since in 20 years." And that's what kind of wins them over and makes them realize that, this kid might just have it.
This kid's fucking serious if he's shown up in 20-year-old boxers with size 17 women's shoes.
Yeah.
Maybe 16 and a half in a size 17.
I believe so, yeah. And he's shown up with the perfect, a better costume than the professional rodeo clowns themselves. So that kind of gains him entry into the rodeo clown world. And, of course, there's a cowboy hurt right away. And
I believe the horse that he's riding is like death something. Like it is, they didn't just start him out on like an entry level position here.
I know there's one horse named Bronchosaurus,
which we love because we love dinosaurs.
Yeah, which was
but
fantastic.
This one is death something. I should have written it down, but I was like, I'll remember. It's pretty clever, and I didn't. But they didn't start him out on like a nice light. Like they weren't doing the calf scramble for him to do his first. It shows the cowboy get bucked off. And the horse is literally just like pounding its hooves, its front two hooves on the chest of the cowboy. And they're like, all right, go in and save this dude who's like inches away from death.
Yeah, so Bobby's like most rodeo clowns, he's thrown to the wolves right away, expected to perform under extreme duress, and expected to save the life of someone else who couldn't even manage to tame this beast. So now he's got to distract this beast while saving this guy. So he's basically doing twice the job of a cowboy to save a cowboy.
And that's, like, I know we'll talk about it later, but that's kind of the point of this episode is, like, yeah, the cowboys, the clowns are the heroes. You know what I mean? Like, they're out there.
And, I mean, they're viewed as garbage, as lowlives that pick bottle caps out of their thighs after they've done their shows.
What did Peggy say about them? I think you wrote down her like exact phrasing.
Yeah, so they're so lowly
despised,
viewed. Yeah, that Peggy refers to them as degenerate, drunk lowlives that will slit your throat and steal your invisible dog.
Like they're not regarded well.
Yeah, and they're looked down upon as badly as you could be, really. And it's funny. I'm gonna go on my big tangent now. About I guess what is it called? Bullfighting it's technically called, but this isn't the bullfighting that you've heard of before, where they pre-injure the animal and they kill the animal if they win or lose. It's a new type of bullfighting where the matador, which they don't call it that, they call it a bullfighter, is unarmed. He has no weapon. The bull is in perfect health. And the bullfighter, his only act of offense or defense is evasiveness. He's just expected to let this bull run him down and try to gore him to death while he simultaneously evades the bull and sidesteps it and uses quite masterful footwork to get out of the way of this charging, rampaging, testosterone-filled bull. And basically the way it works is that they let a bull loose on you, and you have a 30-second mandatory regulation round that you have to survive. You have to basically not get killed by this thing for 30 seconds, and then you can move on to basically the round 2 of the bullfight, where you have an extra 15 seconds to do the most impressive, daring, close contact thing you can with this rampaging bull that's trying to kill you. And basically the winner is the one that tries the craziest shit and gets as close to the bull as possible. And one of our homegrown boys here from Calgary is the back-to-back champ, two-time champ, and going for a third, I believe, in the coming weeks or so.
And yeah, we will discuss it a little more towards the end of the episode, but it really did help us like get perspective on just the risk that these boys are out there. You know what I mean? Like what they're up against. So in the episode, the cowboy gets thrown from the horse, and then they send a 13-year-old boy out, and this horse is like snarling at him, angry, and he's literally putting his life on the line to try and protect this man long enough for him to get like dragged to safety. And all Bobby has is a barrel to jump into. And so he fails miserably at his first attempt at rodeo clowning. He's doing like the aloha, like halloo, halloo dance, and he's doing his, I think he does, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he's trying everything and nothing's working. So the pros have to step in. The real professional rodeo clowns have to step in and save him and show him how it's done. And
they have props. Like they've got like a fire truck bell, and they like go out there with a little fire extinguisher, and you know what I mean.
This bull wants a piece of them immetely. Mm-hmm. They don't even notice Bobby, but they want to kill these two pros.
Yep, absolutely. And so at the end of it, the two guys are kind of giving him a bit of a, chat about everything and what didn't work. Bobby's going up to the horses saying, "What are you talking about?" Trying to familiarize himself, try out his comedy on them. And the one rodeo clown, he's a little embittered. He's like, we're out there busting our butts for the cowboys. Yeah, they'll pants you in front of your ladies. And Bobby's like, "You guys have ladies?"
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Yeah," all defensively.
And this is sort of where you find out that there's a great rift between the cowboys and the rodeo clowns. And Bobby, of course, being the pure, golden-hearted boy that he is, says that, well, my friend Joseph is a cowboy and I'm a rodeo clown. Maybe we can start the healing.
I love him. I have quotes of Bobby saved to my phone that just power me up in like certain down parts of my life. Like, and I'll just read it and I'll be like, "Bobby, you angel, you have literally just made me feel better about the situation." So as he's in the heart of this speech, the horse that he was talking to kicks him through the fence posts and knocks him out. And he comes to laying on his back. And Joseph, the cowboy, is wiping his makeup off. And he's like, "Bobby, we got to get this makeup off you. Like, your dad can't see you in this clown makeup." And this is where the rift between Bobby and Joseph actually starts, because some of the other cowboys walk by and see Joseph caring for the rodeo clown, and they crack a joke where he's like, they say that it's the cows that smell like cow pie, or what is it? You wrote it down.
Yeah, so they see Joseph nursing Bobby back to health, and they go, "Hey, Joseph, I hear rodeo clowns smell like cow pies, but I hear it's the other way around."
And you just see Joseph like kind of recoil and look at Bobby in like disgust. Like he sees that Bobby is not appreciated, and Joseph has always appreciated Bobby's humor, telling him he's the funniest guy he knows and stuff. And this is the first time that he's kind of like, "Ugh, I don't want to be associated with this kid. He's a rodeo clown,"
Yeah, so the stigma is real, or at least it was real. Mm-hmm. But apparently rodeo clowns have evolved, and that was the bullfighting thing that we mentioned earlier. So rodeo clowning started in the 1900s in these types of things, but it eventually evolved to the point where in the 30s they got a barrel to hide into, and then in the 70s it became like a comedy thing where that was added to it to make more entertaining, as if wild animals trying to kill you wasn't entertaining enough. We'll throw in some comedy, no charge, and now it has evolved to the point where it's become bullfighting, and these rodeo clowns where bright colored clothing,
tassels.
but it's not flamboyant and wacky the way they don't wear rainbow wigs anymore. They just wear basically almost like MMA shorts and like a cowboy type shirt that's either just red or, you know what I mean, something to entice the bull. And yeah, it's turned into this bullfighting thing that I was talking about earlier, where they just have to avoid a bull that's trying to kill them for 30 seconds to 45 seconds. And it's amazing.
And they get compensated pretty well, hey?
Yeah, some of them are making upwards of $150,000 to $200,000 a year. And yeah, back to back.
Rightfully so.
Back to back champ from here in Calgary.
I mean,
Alberta.
like, you think about the amount of, because, like, even Hank in the one episode where Peggy doses him with testosterone and he's about to be running with the bulls, it's like when he loses his confidence in that episode and he's actually running with the bulls without testosterone in his system, he's terrified. So it's like 13-year-old Bobby in this episode is going out and facing bulls and horses in an open, area. And these real people that you're talking about, like, they go out there and they're literally being run down by aggressive bulls. And so I'm like, $150,000 enough.
Yeah, I know, right? And they're like goading these bulls into charging at them and then jumping over them and doing a trick, sort of, you know what I mean, to prove how good they are.
Literally, sometimes, like, the toe of my shoe will catch on the stairs when we're coming up to our apartment, and I'll, like, trip and fall forward, and I'm like, I'll roll my heel walking sometimes, and I'm like, these guys and gals are being coordinated in front of an animal that is charging at them with, like, horns with the intent to gore them.
Yeah. And it's super interesting because I watch a lot of history documentaries, and one history documentary I watched was about the civilization of the Minoans, which was a Greek civilization on this island, and they had depictions of people basically doing the exact same thing, but
Is that what the
armor.
word Minotaur comes from?
Yeah, it was the Minotaur was very involved in their culture. I forget how. He's like half man, half bull.
Yeah,
would eat people. You
So,
know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Yada yada yada. And but basically, they used to do this bullfighting without a weapon and without the animal being hurt or disadvantaged in any way thousands of years ago without armor.
Wow.
And now it's back. So it's almost like
ever, baby.
It's almost like MMA, how they had it basically in the Olympics thousands of years ago, and then just within the last 25 years it's come back.
It's really funny how as humans, like, we love, you know what I mean, these sports where people literally face death.
Wild spectacles.
Like, we're one of the only species that is, if not the only species, that's aware of our own mortality, yet we, like, challenge it for entertainment.
And respect
not to get philosophical, that's not what this episode's about.
And we respect it too.
Absolutely.
We're like, wow, the balls on that fucking guy. You know what I mean? To go to bull into charging at him and then jump over him and do a trick. Like, the fuck, how can he jump with balls like that? They must be massive, you know? Like,
tripping over those.
Yeah, like, it's unreal how we just do that kind of stuff.
And, like, not we. I mean, you.
Yeah, not us personally.
I'm like,
ever.
I don't like watching it. I don't like knowing about it. I don't like risk.
I'm a bit of the opposite.
You are, yes.
I do jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, but I would never in a million fucking years do jousting, which I'm also a fan of, or bullfighting, like American, I guess, PBR bullfighting, which doesn't involve hurting the animal and only involves you being at complete risk of being trampled or gored or killed.
Absolutely fascinating either way. So we now see in the episode, we're at the point where Bobby is taken home and he has a concussion, and Hank is thrilled. So he doesn't know that Bobby is moonlighting as a rodeo clown, and he thinks that he got this concussion just from being a part of the rodeo, and he's like, don't fall asleep because you might die, but also just because don't fall asleep. And he goes on. So Bobby is pretty confused and is like, the blonde lady in the house told me I like fruit pies. And Hank's like, no, you don't like fruit pies. You like sports. He's like using this concussion to brainwash him. Now, both Pank and I have had concussions, and we don't take this lightly. Like, I got T-boned by a semi. and was unbuckled and thrown into like the passenger side of a windshield. And I am like, oh, Hank, you monster. Like, you let that boy rest. But he's trying to use it to...
Not sleep, but rest.
Yes, exactly.
Because like Peggy's, or Heggy's said here, we've had our share of concussions. Probably more.
They're no joke.
Than our share, so...
But so, anyways, in the realm of the cowboy clowning world, Bobby has been awarded the butt patting. So, like, that is, like, their that is their buckle bunny. That is their, like, mark of, like, you're ready to be a clown now. Like, so they sent him out there.
That's like your black belt in rodeo clowning.
Like, they're like, here you go. And Bobby's thrilled with this. So we're just gonna, suspend disbelief here. He's at school the next day. Like, I'm like, you need time off school, Bobby. You need to rest your brain. But we're going to suspend disbelief and we're going to pretend he doesn't have a concussion. So he's back to school the next day. And we see that Dooley is bullying some, like, schoolyard chum because Dooley stole his lunch money and there was a Canadian quarter in it. So that pissed him off enough that he has this kid in a headlock.
Yeah, that he had to attack this other kid.
He's like, there's a Canadian quarter in
because the profit he robbed off him was not a currency of his current nation.
And Bobby, the hero, goes up to him and is like, stop picking on this squirt. I got a squirt for you. And squirts a little bit of water in Dooley's face from like a little flower on his lapel. And Bobby turns around, clearly sporting the black belt of rodeo clowning, which is the ass patting.
Yeah.
And he's like, go ahead, kick me in the butt. And Dooley goes to kick him and he's like, there's dust coming out of your butt. And Joseph's perturbed by this. Like, he's definitely been affected by the other cowboys. And he's like, quit it, Bobby. Like, the point has been made. And Bobby's like, let me turn the other cheek. And, like, just proceeds to, like, point his left butt cheek at Dooley, who kicks it again. And the divide is happening.
Yeah, Joseph's like, man, you're creeping people out.
Yeah.
Like you can see right then and there that they've become something different completely.
Mm-hmm. Just like that. So we're back to the rodeo, and Hank this whole time has been talking about how, the next time he has a calf scramble, he can reserve the Strickland box. And he's like, so-and-so has it, but I can just send them to Maynardberry. And on this particular day, he's bringing a potential client, and he's like, I don't want to tell Bobby how important this is. I mean, there's propane on the line. And at first, they are very amused by the antics of a clown that comes out chasing a chicken, riding a fake horse. It's very adorable. Earlier on in the episode, the rodeo clowns are like, if anyone asks, you're a midget. And the one clown is like, he doesn't look like a midget. And Zip is like, nobody's gonna ask. But in this episode, or at this point in the episode, you can see that he's clearly a young boy. And Hank's loving it. And then Bill comes in to the picture and is like, hey, those are my boxers. And those are Peggy's shoes. Hank, that's Bobby. So, first of all, creepy that, Bill can recognize Peggy's shoes.
Of course he can, from like, from like 100 feet away. He can spot out Peggy's
like,
shoes.
Ew. But yeah, so Hank is now mortified at the fact that his son is a rodeo clown. And the whole family's upset. So we learn at this point that the uncle that Peggy had in Nam, he wasn't a cowboy. He was a clown.
Yeah, and Hank is like, oh no, Uncle Boffo? Like, it couldn't be. No.
You were as sweet and naive as Bobby. Like, it was Uncle Boffo. Come on.
Yeah, that's probably where Bobby gets a lot of his naivety.
Oh, yeah.
From Hank.
Yep, absolutely. And Peggy. Peggy's equally
Yes, that's
naive.
True. She's been scammed and played for a fool many times.
Absolutely. So Hank is just like disgusted. He's like, this is my fault. It shows him like reprimanding Bobby. He's going into his room and like taking, Peggy was cleaning her shoes because she's just like disgusted. And Hank's going and commandeering all of the stuff that he used for his costume. And Bobby's like, that's not even my makeup. That's Luann's makeup. He's like, you're not only a clown, you're a thief. I don't know which is worse. Clown.
Clown. Yeah.
And then he says to him, you take a circus clown, roll him in the barn, kick him in the head a few times, and what do you get? And Bobby looks at him and is like, your son! And starts like crying in his pillow, and it's a very dramatic and endearing little scene.
Yeah. And I love that again, the stigma of circus clown, which is now
It's rodeo clown.
PBR bullfighter, or yes,
Rodeo
clown, is now evolved to the point of PBR bullfighter.
That's right.
And also that Bobby is doing so bad, you know what I mean? Like, Hank's so disappointed with him. And on the other end of the storyline, Joseph's riding up with a new belt buckle. He's doing better than ever. And Dale's like, oh man, you know what I mean? I love this kid. And Joseph's like, I did so well, they made me take a drug test. And Dale's like, oh, the only thing you're on is gribble-cillin. And you said that Hank, you said there'd be no potential increase in athletic ability due to gribble-cillin.
And then it shows that Dale is wearing one of his belt buckles, and he's like, come on, who wants to wrestle me for it? I've absorbed his strength. Like, it's just, like, Joseph has so many belt buckles, he's dishing them around at this point, you know? So it's now, like, the final day of the rodeo, because Bobby has been outed as a rodeo clown. He's no longer performing as a rodeo clown, and it shows him walking up to the stands with Hank, and he's like, Hank's like, Bobby, except for the cowboy and the guy who tapes the bull's genitals, the most important part of this is the friend in the stands cheering him on. So Bobby's dismayed. He's gonna go get himself a hot dog, and while this is happening, it shows the up-and-coming Joseph ride out on a bull, and he gets thrown from it right away. And right as Bobby's getting to the top of the stand and is about to go to the concession, some woman in the audience is like, that cowboy's about to get gored. And it's getting very dramatic. Like, the rodeo clowns are going in to try and save him. They both get knocked the fuck out. Like, so we don't see it happen, but we just see, like, the limp clown bodies. And Joseph he's in a pot of boiling water here. And so Bobby, the hero, this is the turning point of it all.
Yeah, there's no one else that can save these guys. The designated cowboy savers, i.e. rodeo clowns, are knocked out cold.
As I said, they are knocked the fuck out. And
that's so funny that you say that, because that's like an MMA term.
That's probably where I got it.
That used to be a brand of like clothing called KTFO, for knock the fuck out.
And we call King of the Hill KOTH. It's all rooted back to the same basic premise.
You're such a bro, though. I was gonna say that, of course, you would either organically come to knock the fuck out or have been influenced into it.
So Bobby sees what's going on from the top of the stands near the concession, and he grabs like the hat of some lady, the sweater of some lady, and as he's running down to save his friend, there's a little exchange between him and Hank where he's like, son, wait. And then Peggy just hands Hank her lipstick from her purse, and he puts it on his face, and Bobby goes in and he saves the day using just a little fire extinguisher, which he uses to illustrate gas.
Tells everyone not to have the nachos because he's got such bad gas from this prop fire extinguisher that he's using as a fart machine, essentially.
And he does save the day, so it shows that some of the ranch hands come in and they drag Joseph safely off of the rodeo platform, and then they come in and they just kick the clowns off. So there's like two guys that like safely and very like, nicely drag,
lovingly remove the cowboy as they kick the clowns under the fence so that they're safe.
And then at the very end, it's adorable. Joseph and Bobby are mending their friendship, and Joseph's like, what can I do? And Bobby's like, well, I want your belt buckle, essentially. And Joseph's like, well, this doesn't make you my buckle bunny.
Yeah, I'll give you the belt, but it doesn't make you my buckle bunny. And of course, Bobby, being completely naive because of his hill and platter jeans, goes, oh yes, sir, it does.
It's So cute. And that takes us to the very end. So I feel like we have been on a roller coaster ride this whole time where we like went into this influenced by our predisposed stereotypes of rodeo clowns, and we have left this changed man and woman just being like, fuck, these guys are heroes. They are out there, you know,
saving lives. They're literally like almost like first responders.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like they're the people that make the area safe so that medical attention can be delivered to people that are injured. So they're like beyond first responders, you know?
They're heroes.
And now they're these balls of steel daredevils that go into battle basically with an animal that can kill them easily with no weapon and no real plan of hurting the animal. You know, so they become these real heroes, in my opinion. And I've found a new obscure sport to follow, which is great for me because I love, you know, sumo, timber sports, all that shit. I love it. So I'm like, I'm so in love right now.
Honestly, I feel like that's what King of the Hill does. Like, you watch an episode like dog dancing or what have you. You know, and like at the end of the episode, you're like, I love this.
Yeah.
And you have like, they give everything a fair shake. Like, I feel like everyone sees it as like a bunch of like rednecks, but I'm like, they are just like really complex characters, you know, who have a lot of interests, and they really expose a lot of like really cool things.
Yeah, and if you really pay attention, you learn the lessons that there are, because
always,
you know, if you really pay attention, you learn that the rodeo clowns, although they don't get the respect they deserve, even at the very end of it, they're still very admirable human beings.
Absolutely.
They're these heroes, basically, with balls of steel that, you know, have this code of, you know, protecting others, essentially.
Absolutely. It's a very dense and like funny and rich episode, and Pank was actually saying when we were watching it, like, if you are not a King of the Hill fan, this would be an absolutely fantastic episode to get into the King of the Hill franchise, because it is so funny, so heartwarming.
You get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. You get a little bit of everyone.
Yes, everyone and every part of them. Dale being crazy, Joseph being athletic,
Bill
Bobby
being
not being athletic and being funny, Bill being pathetic, you know, Hank being naive and cute and funny, Peggy being, wacky.
Especially when she's in the stand and she's like, I can't remember the whole rhyme, but she's like,
rope 'em, tie 'em,
something
fry 'em, mincemeat
pie,
take 'em home and mincemeat pie 'em.
Like, just aggressive. And so anyways, what is your take on the episode, rating, and favorite moment?
Great episode, super awesome. Rating, I would say, would be very, very high, probably a 9.8.
Yeah.
And favorite moment would be Gribble Sillin. Shout out to Gribble Sillin, improving our athletes since whenever Dale invented it.
Absolutely, that's awesome. I would also like to just point out at this, not to be a Millhouse, but we're drunk. We're very, very drunk. So if you've made it
That's
this
what we do.
far,
Yeah.
That is why the end gets a little choppy, because we're like just trying to form words.
Yeah. We're cracking Alamos.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, before we even start talking to you guys, we're cracking Alamos. I would rate this like 9.2. I love me a good Bobby Heavy episode. Bobby and Peggy, they're my guys. You know, I fucking love them. I think I'm a pretty good blend of both of those characters, so I'm like, I feel like they speak to me. I think that my favorite part of this episode is just Bobby running out, like the clip of him running out in the cowboy dust and just like getting dragged around by that baby calf. I'm like, I can relate to you, Bobby, so much.
He's your spirit animal.
I've said that on so many.
A lot of other people apparently too. Other people identify Bobby as a spirit animal.
Like absolutely, Bobby and Millhouse. Those are my spirit cartoons. But yeah, so thank you so much for meeting us in the alley, and we hope to see you next time.